With this build, you will be able to crush Torment 4 without any problem. And the best part is that we don't need Chaos Armor, not Mythics. Welcome to the Stormravens build, a perfect build for all the content of the season and especially for the Hellphase Orcs. We require very little gear to reach T4. In this video we will see how it works, the gear, skill tree, Paragon, Spirit Boons and Chaos perks. Are you ready to take your builds to another level? Let's go with the video. Hello everyone, Zaior here, bringing you an update of the Stormravens build for this season. More like a preview of what the build will be when we can't have all the items that belong to it. I will tell you right away that we won't need impressive or hard to get gear to smash Torment 4. We will start with the most important thing to understand the build overall. First, we have the unique perk called Savagery. This chaos power dropped from Bartuk in Torment 2 and it drops randomly. So, what this power does is transform our companion's skill into core skills and increases their damage by 80%. Therefore, now our companions, instead of having cooldown, will now spend resources. Simple to understand, so we can continue with the rest of the key items for a solid build in the highest difficulty. We start with Gatlin's Birthright. This unique helm will give us the ability to activate two passives at once, Perfect Storm and Erdemite. Plus the passive we will assign ourselves, which will be one with nature. So we will have three passives active at the same time for our Ravens. Here is where two key aspects come in for the Ravens to work correctly and have synergy with the three passives. First, the Stormcrow aspect, which will make our Ravens deal lightning damage, therefore they become a Storm skill. With this aspect, we already have the benefit of one with nature and Perfect Storm. Now comes the Mighty Storm aspect, in which the passive Erdemite applies to our Storms type skills. Therefore, with this, we will already have the benefit of all three passive for our Ravens. Perfect. Now, we continue with the Kilt of Blackwing, the new unique for Ravens. Its pants, I got it by exchanging ovals for pants. Good. These pants, in short, will make our Ravens deal more damage. That's the most important thing you need to know for now. Since later I will bring another guide when the build is more advanced. These pants are pure damage to the Ravens, therefore they are important to increase DPS. We continue with the third item, which is the Mjolnir ring. This ring is super important to make the build much smoother to play, since it gives us the infinite spirit we need to be able to cast the Ravens infinitely across the map. Therefore it's important to have this item. Having ranks in Endless Tempest will help a lot so Cataclysms last longer and the fights feel better to play. These are the three main pillars of this build in general to play it. You will see later that my gear is not very special, not anything powerful. As you can see, my gear is not very strict, but we will concentrate a lot of getting armor on resistances, since this build at the start can be a bit squishy. But then I will explain where you can put affixes and gems to cap res and armor. We start with the helm, Gatlin's Birthright, already explained it earlier. Here you can roll the affix Willpower or Humanity, either is perfect for leveling T4 for now. We continue with a legendary chest. I have this one that isn't even ancestral, but it helps me cap resistances before finding the Shroud of False Death. This will be important for more armor. In the planner you will see the necessary affixes with more detail. Then we continue with legendary gloves. Having these affixes, it's perfect to survive more and also deal more damage. The tempering didn't roll very well here, but it should be Raven's attack speed instead of Wolves. Here we will put the Mighty Storm aspect. Next, our pants, Kilt of Blackwing. For now, increasing the ranks for Ravens will help increase the sustained DPS of the build, and farm calmly while looking for Chaos Armor for the final setup, which could be pants or boots. Then we continue with Gem Blessing. These boots will help us a lot to move faster and also cap resistances. Honestly, any boots with movement speed and all resistances will be fine here. We will use a dagger with the Retaliation aspect, since our Ravens are core skills. Therefore, Retaliation will help a lot to increase DPS. It's important to have at least the chance for the Ravens to deal double damage. Remember to add the chance from the weapon plus the pants so you can reach around 90% or more, which is ideal. But for now, with tempering it's enough, like what I have here. Next, the totem, same tempering as the weapon, and here goes the Stormcrow aspect so our Ravens deal lightning damage and benefit from the storm bonuses. The amulet, we'll know how hard it's to find one. I got this one and I was a bit lucky, because even through its lower level, it still has good passives. The important tempering here is Cataclysm, so the ultimate has less cooldown. We will place the Sharper aspect to increase Raven damage even more. A Skull Gem will help cap armor. Next, the Mjolnir. Here we try to find one with ranks for Endless Tempest. I have this pretty good one even for the final build. Add a diamond to cap resistance, and the next an Ancestral Ring plus the Overture aspect. This aspect works in a special way, since it says that our direct lightning damage will make our storm skills deal 80% more damage, and that direct damage comes from Cataclysm, which benefits our storm skill, which are the Ravens. Therefore, we have 80% more damage for our main skills. Put a diamond here too. To finish capping, we will use Soothing Species, and some life or attack speed elixir will help too. The skill tree is pretty simple, and then functionally on the skills too, since most of the time we will be spamming Ravens and nothing else. We start with points in Maul. We will use Maul to activate the perk Wild Transformation, which I will explain later. Then 3 points in Wild Impulse, since now companions are core skills, that means even more damage, so these 3 points will help a lot. 1 point in Earthen Bulwark to gain more resistance in battle and activate these passives here to gain more damage and defenses. Then Blowhowl, which will also help activate Wild Transformation. And we assign the point to preserving Blowhowl for more attack speed. Okay, here is almost all our damage, actually all the damage, since we assign 5 points to Ravens. 1 point in Wolves to have more companions active and take more advantage of the Shepherd aspect, plus they tank fights and also add some damage. Humanity, Nature's Reach, Feral Aptitude, all important passives to increase DPS, we assign 3 points each. Call of the Wild is mandatory, more damage to Ravens. 3 points in Electric Shock to immobilize enemies and trigger more damage, even though it's only 24%, but when we have Feast of Fate it will be more frequent. Anyway, we assign these points now, but if you have problems with Cataclysms, you could assign them to Endless Tempest, so your Cataclysm lasts longer. 5 points for Cataclysms for its duration and less cooldown, important. These Nature's Magic nodes will help the Ravens in every way, and our key passive is One with Nature, which increases companion damage and also give us 1 more. Remember that with Godless Birthright, we also gain the passive Perfect Storm and Erdemite. The skill tree later won't change much, anyway you will be informed about it. We continue with Paragon. I think Paragon will change the most later, since I try to adjust it with the points I have available now. Therefore I will tell you which are the most optimal for damage and for surviving, which I think is the most important, because the damage is broken with very little gear and Paragon. We start with Earth and Sky, and this season Earth and Sky is mandatory in any Nature's Magic build. The buff is really good, so we put it on the first board for solid damage early. Next with Untamed, since it's direct damage to companions, thanks to the legendary node and the Wild's Glyph we will place on this board. Plus we have these points here to cap resistances, which are very important. Next with Sinister Tendrils, which will give us 30% 5 more damage to poison enemies, and the Human Glyph will be good for damage and defense. But the reason we go straight to this Paragon is because of this. We have these points here that significantly increase our resistances early, so add them as soon as possible. Then we go to the node Handed Malice with the Spirit Glyph. It will increase our critical strike damage, it's a good damage buff. This board is more focused on that, increasing our damage to poison enemies and also crit damage. Plus these other points here also help upgrade resistances. I don't yet have the requirement to upgrade it, but still we are solid in T4. And the last board will be Thunderstruck, which we haven't completed yet, and the Keeper Glyph. Remember that this board is, because of the level I'm at, subject to changes in the future. Now with the Spirit Bones, this play a key role in every build. We start with Gift of the Stag to better take advantage of the perk Overabundance, which is the broken perk this season. Then Avengrad for 40% more critical strike damage. Energize will help regenerate Spirit so Overabundance stays active longer and we get its damage bonus. Calamity to have Cataclysm active longer. This will be necessary since it gives us time to reset it thanks to Calm Before the Storm, which when we have Feast of Fate will make this boon even better. Now with the power of perks of this season, so far I'm using this here. We start with Purge the Infected. This power guarantee crits, poison enemies, and these crits deal 60% more damage. So it's a great perk that synergizes with passives and nodes that need enemies poison and also gives us 60% more damage on crit. Then Overabundance, which gives us 100% multiplicative damage to our final damage, and it stacks 3 times. Therefore, it will give us a brutal damage for any build using this perk, mandatory. Then Wild Transformation. I love this perk since it gives us a lot of buffs by shapeshifting. Using Maul, it will be activated Debilitating Row to give us 20% damage reduction. Using Bloodhowl, it activates Bloodhowl, giving us 20% critical strike damage. And using any human form skill like Earthen Bulwark or Ravens, it will activate the Cyclone Armor to give us 20% more attack speed. And the unique perk has to be Savagery. Companions become core skills and also deal 80% more damage. Huge. Well, my fellow druids, this has been the updated video of the build. Through this, it's a well-deserved S tier, since with the gear and level we can clear T4 easily, and also these beats I will leave here to end the video. Stay tuned for the next video with the final version of the build that will break the game. See you in some trade.